his book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
At the moment, med students get very few chances to practice giving injections, with very expensive imported simulation pads being shared between 20 or so students in class. Arjun and Jag really focused on developing a product that was accessible to all students.
With the different malls right now, we have both the standard unit and the professional unit. The standard unit is for people that have access to syringes and so on and so forth. So these are usually your nursing colleges and so on. And for them, we obviously don't want to put in unnecessary material to keep the cost down for them. Our primary goal was to have something that was affordable and efficient for students. Being students ourselves, we knew that was important right from the get-go.
So in a very important sense, memory is the cognitive function that stores knowledge that we've acquired through learning and perception. But also, memory is important because memory frees our behavior from control by the present stimulus environment. If you didn't have memory, all you'd be able to do is to react to whatever's currently in the environment now, whatever it is that you're experiencing. But memory allows us to respond to past events as well as events in the current stimulus environment. And memory also gives us the means to reflect on our experiences so that we plan for future encounters.
Experiencing, perception, control, to react. Okay.
Experimental psychological research is conducted in a lab under controlled conditions. It attempts to rely solely on an application of research methods to understand behavior and mental processes. As an example of a psychological experiment, you might want to investigate people's perception of different tones. Specifically, you could ask the following question. Is it easier for people to discriminate one pair of tones from another depending on their frequency? To answer this, you would want to disprove the hypothesis that all tones are equally easy to discriminate.
Behaviors, frequencies, perception equally.
In the United States, the poet Walt Whitman published a work called Democratic Vistas. This was in 1871. I quote from that work. He's talking here about the development of a program of culture drawn out, not for a single class alone, or for the parlors or lecture rooms, but with an eye to the practical life and to the West, the working man, the facts and forms and jack planes and engines, of the broad range of the woman also, of the middle class and working strata, and with reference to the perfect equality of women and of a grand and powerful motherhood. So these ideas of the individual, the ordinary individual, as someone who has a right and a responsibility to an education, had begun clearly to emerge in the United States.
Hey, Sally. How are you? You all right?
Right, yeah.
Look, I was wondering, did you go to Alan Johnson's lecture on globalisation yesterday?
Of course. And why weren't you there?
I had a bit of a nightmare. My alarm didn't go off, and I
Oh, John, that's pathetic.
I know. Was it any good, the lecture?
Well, yeah. No, actually it was. It was quite interesting, but it was a bit complicated. I took some notes, actually.
Fantastic.
We need a bit of stress in our lives to keep us alert, to keep us going, but we also need to have that burst of stress that then is managed and drops again. It's when stress remains high constantly that we're in real problems. And that's the real concern with the way our society is organised today, is that we put people in situations that do leave them chronically stressed.
How difficult do you feel your life is at present?
To find out if Australian families are too stressed, the longitudinal study asks behavioural science questions.
How well do you think you're coping?
In Life at One, we add some biological science. We trawl the saliva of our parents and babies for a hormone called cortisol. When we're stressed, our physical response and the emotions we feel are triggered by chemicals released in our body. First is adrenaline, providing the increased heart rate every kid needs to escape a bully. But if the threat continues, our body goes on high alert and cortisol kicks in to shut down parts of the brain.
And the things that we shut down are things like rational thinking, memories, our immune system, and a range of other things that, I guess, through evolution, our body is determined that aren't necessary to deal with the immediate trauma.
But if a child is continually stressed, constantly shutting down their memory and immune system can seriously affect the way their brain grows.
I think there are too many people in the federal parliament ambience at the moment who take themselves extraordinarily seriously. And that's not just politicians. It's a lot of the staff of politicians. The ministerial advisor thing has grown out of all proportion. And you get these, you see them at election times, all strutting around in Hugo Boss suits talking on mobiles. When a politician is seen on the television and all these staffers and so on, they're very self-important people usually. And they all want to be politicians when they grow up.
Don't know what is that.
The neuroendocrine system is under particular onslaught in our modern life. Not only does it serve as the conduit for our emotional life, but it is also under threat from our external environment. The amount of chemicals acting as so-called endocrine disruptors is going up by the day. These chemicals, which range from pesticides and herbicides to ingredients of plastics, which look chemically like some of the hormones in our bodies, can then bind to the receptor and cause a stimulation of the receptor, or block it so that the appropriate hormone cannot
do its work. Theater.
I mean, it saves so much time if you just include the page numbers for any quotes that you've written down, everything. Have you been doing that?
No, I haven't actually. I've been keeping a note of the books and obviously who wrote them and their editors and things like that, but no, I haven't been keeping the actual page numbers.
Right, well, just from my own experience when I was a postgrad, I found that I just wasted so much time when I had to go back because the thing is you will have to revise the work that you do, and you can save so much time if you've actually got all the page numbers written down as well, because it means you can go back to the exact quote that you found and work on it there.
Does that mean that you could try to figure out the connection between, or the relationship between behavior and these technological settings in such a way that you could try to create a technological setting that allowed just those types of behavior that were good? I'm intending this to be a very simple question, perhaps too simple, but that's an open question. Can you construct a technological setup so that it implies a certain type of behavior?
Rivers provide habitat and migration pathways for numerous aquatic species.
Teaching assistants will receive a monthly stipend for housing.
To gain full marks, an appropriate bibliography is required.
To grant full mark, appropriate, bibliography.